How's it going, everybody? Game Reviews here. Welcome back to another video on the channel. So, 2023 was sure one hell of a year for the gaming industry. We had so many great games that came into existence this year that really did catch my eye. Some I did enjoy, and others, well, not as much. If you've been watching this pretty little Let's Play over here, sorry, that one will not be on this list. But I have my reasons. And those reasons will be touched on in the series itself. So anyways, let's take a look at what I would consider my top 10 games of 2023. The only rule I have at play here is I cannot take a game that I just played this year for the first time that came out in a previous year because odds are people have already talked about it. However, there will be an honorable mention for some of these games, so be ready for that. Okay, on to number... Okay. Before you all go and call me out for breaking my one rule about not talking about games that have come out in the past year, I have one thing to say to you. This game came out on modern consoles on January 19th. Yeah, it is a port of the PS Vita version of Persona 4 that originally came out on the PlayStation 2 with some added juicy content akin to something we saw in Persona 5 Royal. But it is still worth mentioning here. Coming from only playing Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal multiple times, and I mean at least 3 times on both versions of this game. To see that Persona 4 Golden is available once again on a handheld, but one, in my opinion, that runs better than what the PS Vita had, while also having a large screen, yeah, Persona 4 Golden is quite amazing. Coming from Persona 5, which did have some quality of life improvements that I just had to accept that was non-existent in Persona 4 Golden, took me a bit of time. But once I accepted it, I was able to take off the glasses and see what this game was made of. By the way, that was not intentional of how the characters wear glasses in the TV world, in the spirit world, the whatever world that the metaverse sense is. So continuing. You all know one thing I've always praised a game for is the music. Something interesting that I thought was genius, the Persona games since 3 each have a unique genre of music to accompany all sides of the music spectrum. 3 focus more on hip-hop and rap, 5 focus on the emo rock band headbangers, and 4 focused on jazz. A genre of music I never personally vibe with, but it grew on me real fast upon booting this game up. Overall, I think Persona 4 Golden is a game that should be played if you're willing to put in a good chunk of time into a game that focuses on character development and growth for each of the main cast. I won't go into details here, but when playing it, keep in mind, this game first came out in 2008, where some, shall we say, less acceptable themes were not as common as we've seen today. Newsflash to all you watchers, I'm a sucker for the pink puffball. I think that Kirby itself is such an enigma, implying that this cute pink puffball is a god, and if it wasn't touched by kindness and friendship, it would have been like Dark Void. But this is not Star Allies talk, this is Return to Dreamland Deluxe talk. My first time playing this game is this updated remaster that has graced us on the Nintendo Switch. I still remember being in Japan and seeing the empty cases for this game just mocking me. Oh, how badly did I just want to buy this game right then and there. But alas, I had to wait another month to experience this masterpiece. However, that wait was well worth it. For those of you who do not know, the original Return to Dreamland was the first Kirby game since the Crystal Shards, where we've seen Kirby on a home console that actually has a story to it. I'm not counting Kirby Air Ride in that because it was a side game, it was racing, still a lot of fun, highly recommend, but that's a conversation for another day. On top of the original game that was seen on the Wii, we got new copy abilities in Sand and Mecha, have a big new side venture called Merry Magalore Land, where you can get over 60 different masks to slap onto your characters, some of which have actual audio cues of the actual characters from the masks, which is great. However, best of all, we have an epilogue that depicts Magalore after the main campaign. For once, you feel bad for this evil little demon as they try to regain their powers. You know what? I should have probably just dropped that rule I had because this is the second time I threw a technicality here because yes, this is a port slash remaster of the Pikmin games first on the GameCube. However, big however, this is not Pikmin 1 or Pikmin 2. This is Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2. Obviously, if you haven't played Pikmin, well, it is a simple strategy game. Depending on your choice, though, gives you an entirely different experience. Pikmin 1 encourages the art of speedrunning. Retrieve all the ship parts within 30 days to escape an unknown planet. Fail, and suffer the consequences. Pikmin 2, on the other hand, is gather up various treasures by exploring dungeons and strategize your crew to achieve this goal. Collect all the items in the game, which implies that this planet that we're on is Earth, and this is all a post-apocalyptic world where the only remnants are these treasures that some aliens look at as a way to flip around a deep loan that the company is currently in. The biggest perk of this game is playing a Pikmin game officially on the go, and by that I mean playing these two games on the go because we also have Pikmin 3 and Pikmin 4 on the Switch, so we have all four now. I cannot tell you how many times I have just turned on my Nintendo Switch while on my couch and have a show in the background. Or when I am on a plane traveling to some new area. To not be able to add Pikmin 1 and Pikmin 2 to that ever-growing library, oh man. 2023, we've been eating really good so far. Oh yeah, brother! In the words of the myth, the legend, it is Macho Man Randy Savage. WrestleQuest puts you as an up-and-coming wrestler into the world of professional wrestling. This game takes the turn-based RPG that we are used to seeing in games like Super Mario RPG, the Mario Luigi series, and others of the sort. However, this takes it one step further as certain moves are actual wrestling attacks. Swing enemies to the ropes and bring them back over for an extra attack. Taunt a way to build up your meter and perform ultimate attacks to bring down all enemies that come your way. As someone who is not a wrestling fan in the slightest, aside from playing Raw 2 on the original Xbox and becoming mortal enemies with gold dust by surprise attacks and leaving traps, the question is why? Because my friend and I thought that was hilarious, and I just think this, at the end of the day, is a great turn-based RPG. Even the story is amazing, because, let's be real, we all know that pro wrestling is staged to an extent. The wrestlers aren't actually beating the living hell out of each other. Wrestling, when it comes to the WWE, is definitely a popularity contest. But even so, how do you make an antagonist in a game like this? You have the owner of the wrestling organization attempt to not only control the wrestling foundation, Paw, but the entire world and reality as we know it. So, as of recording this video, the Indigo disc has yet to be released. However, Game Freak has done the impossible, in my opinion, and made a Pokemon game have an actual and substantial storyline. The last time I have seen this unfold to such greatness was back in the black and white days on the Nintendo DS. I was thinking about actually placing this game on the list since I'm taking a look at this with the whole storyline of the DLC in tow. Since we're going back to Nay underneath, where we battled the AI professor in Area Zero. So I think this can be taken as one big story. To start, let's take a look at the Teal Mask. Going on a school trip to the Kitsukami region, we meet two students from the Blueberry Academy based out in Unova, Carmine and Karen. We learn of the tale of Ogerpon and the three loyals. Legends go that the loyal three saved the region from Ogerpon and have since been dawned as heroes. However, we learn that this is the opposite. The loyal three caused havoc across the region and ousted Ogerpon, the true kind Pokemon. Kira believes in Ogerpon and that Ogerpon is this good and kind-hearted Pokemon. Traveling alongside the main character, you build this bond between Kieran and the player. Until you and Carmine lie to Kieran about Ogerpon. In the end, the player, us, catches Ogerpon and Kieran just does not forgive us. And from what was shown in the final Indigo Disc trailer, Kieran is here for some revenge, as what it appears to be in the Blueberry Academy and him being the champion. Transforming from someone who does not like battling to living and breathing the sport, even angrily wanting revenge on the player. This is where it's time to see if what I think will happen in the story comes true. Mind you, this next part is what I think is going to happen, and I am also going to be re-recording this afterwards to add on what actually happens and give my final thoughts. So, I think what's going to happen here is Kieran being controlled by new Pokemon. While I do think Kieran wants to beat us as the player, I think after his loss in Blueberry Academy, he someone goes within Area Zero and meets Terapagos. Kieran tries to control Terapagos for his own needs, and once the player arrives, we are too late. We battle against Kieran one final time with Terapagos at his side, until Kieran makes Terapagos use its true power. This unknown 19 type that I'm just going to call Ultima here. A type that has no weakness, but no strength. In doing so, Terapagos goes haywire, and it's up to us as the player to stop Terapagos, and thus, the story concludes. We learn who Terapagos is, and learn the existence of Paradox Pokemon's existence. Personally, I am on the boat that Terapagos is some kind of wish granter, a Pokemon that made the Paradox Pokemon from their own powers, including Koraidon and Miraidon. Okay, so I was partially right in this prediction. However, I do appreciate it that Kieran was not controlled by a Pokemon or anything, but instead using his hatred and anger towards us to become this powerful trainer. I really liked how in the DLC, if you bring out Ogerpon against him, he actually reacts to it. And I also did enjoy exploring the Blueberry Academy, taking on a new set of Elite Four members, and those battles were really challenging to me, and that was great. Just my final thoughts on this, though. I think the DLC really does tie together one cohesive storyline, and it does confirm the original idea that Paradox Pokemon are these ancient and future Pokemon. Terapagos is not a wish granter. The 19 type is not Ultima, it's called Stellar. And the Pokemon themselves, when they terrestrialize to this Stellar typing, they still keep their original typing, and they just get a boost for every move type that they have one time. Overall, I think Scarlet and Violet are the best Pokemon games I have ever played. And this topped for me Black and White. So, bravo. Xenoblade Chronicles, a game trilogy, or quartet technically, since Xenoblade Chronicles X still has the name in it, but no direct connection to 1 through 3, aside from some guest blades and 2. Anyways, this has been in the existence since the Nintendo Wii. Since then, it has delved into this heavily connected plot line that actually makes sense for the most part. Unlike some other series that I still truly love with my heart. but damn, is it convoluted. It all came together in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, a story that merges the two worlds together. So imagine my surprise when I saw a trailer that showed not only a new cast of characters in Matthew, A, Nickel, and Glimmer, but also the return of Shulk, Rex, and Alvis? Oh wait, I guess they're Alpha? Alpha, Alvis, whatever. It's still the same AI we saw in Xenoblade Chronicles. Where this game takes place is still anyone's guess, but this ties a nice bow on the entire saga. To see both Shulk and Rex, the only living people alongside those of the city not tied into with this endless war, then seeing their children, Nicole and Glimmer respectively, as part of Console Z's or Z, because we got European VAs here, plot to an endless war is just heartbreaking. For as short as the story is, since it is shorter than The Gates of Torna, this game has left a strong, lasting impact onto me, and I cannot wait to sink my teeth into it again. I just had a conversation with my buddy about the Video Game Awards. How did a game who got nominated for 7 different categories not win a single one? Well, I think he put it perfectly. There was no innovative changes made to this game than what's already existent in 1 and Miles Morales. Now, is that such a bad thing? I wouldn't say so, seeing as where the placement of this game is. However, I do see where people are coming from. Insomniac took what worked well in the previous 2 installments of the series and just merged them together with some nice touches and innovations on the PlayStation 5 directly, primarily the use of the DualSense, but that's not why it is here on the spot. This is here on the spot because of the gameplay. I never got tired of playing this game throughout the beginning, middle, and end. Web swinging all across New York in both Queens and the Harlem neighborhoods. Somehow, Insomniac made it work to have 2 main characters of equal importance and not take away the limelight from each Spider-Man. The cinematic in the fights, the collectibles, boss battles, and oh man, those boss battles. I will not go much into it here for obvious reasons, but just know they're spectacles for a reason. As someone who loved the first 2, this one did not disappoint. Nay, it improved upon the collectibles that were existent in the first 2. Gone are the random requirements for crimes and taking down the different syndicates. Instead, each region has its own level progression in a sense. So, by gathering the collectibles like Spider Bots, Sandman Crystals, Photoshots, etc., this is how you level up the regions on the map. Yes, there's still crimes afoot, but not defeat 5 of this crime group, 5 of this crime group, 5 of this crime group in each region. Instead, it is all stored in random crimes itself. Overall, if you just want to do some web swinging, fight some enemies, and feel like you are Spider-Man, just grab it and swing away. We all knew, well, if you know me, this game was going to be on this top 10 list. Final Fantasy and myself go together like peanut butter and jelly. Final Fantasy 16 is something that is just worth playing. Yes, the game is extremely linear. Yes, the game has only one playable character in Clive. And yes, the game itself shoves side missions down your throat right before the climax of the game. And to all that I say, so what? Clive is a character who, as someone who has dealt with constant heartbreak, dealing with the fall of his empire, being marked as a bearer who is the lowest of life in this world, hell, even trying to hunt down a demon-like being who killed his brother, all at the age of 15. It was not until he turned 28 where he learned the truth. He was the one who killed his brother. Or did he? These plot points culminate together into one big plot of Clive taking the power left by Sid into his own hands, ending the control of the crystals. I don't know what it is with Final Fantasy and Crystals, but I'm not complaining. They made me want to continue playing this game from end to end in a single weekend. Hell, the ending left me in literal tears, crying, bawling tears. It is that damn good. Enough of the story though. I just need to say that the icon battles are more magical cinematics than what they are as fights. I can see the complaints here as well, and rightfully so. But to see a fight against Garuda, then go up against Titan. This shows the great scale of fights that we have seen in just quick time events from games like God of War, but it is an actual fight, not just CGI with buttons. Finally, the music. Oh man, Masayoshi Soken knocked it out of the park with every song in this game. Mwah. That's it. If you were to ask my friends where I was at from the Nintendo June Direct, I was with some people who became brothers to me. Watching it all together, I will never forget seeing Pikmin 4 come onto the screen. My friends knew how much I loved Pikmin, but I don't think they realized my love for the series was as great as it was when I was just sitting in front of that TV in a constant gaze. Pikmin 4 is a game that I and so many others absolutely love. It is a game that brought Pikmin back into the home of so many since the last numeric installment. A game that took what Pikmin 2 offered and ran with it even more. What Pikmin 3 was to Pikmin 1, Pikmin 4 was to Pikmin 2. A game that didn't encourage speedrunning, but instead to just sit back and enjoy the game. Minus the Dandori battles. You better speedrun those. While the newest hot topic being night exploration to me felt a bit bare bone and more of a tower defense style combat, the world itself was something to behold. I think the plot of having to save Alamar from the planet was great because the developers just took this idea of people lost on the planet and ran with it, saving so many different characters. Best of all, we have another solo adventure with Alamar in this game. To me, it is a retelling of sorts that kind of contradicts the original storyline, but in a way that it does not all at the same time. We still have the crash landing and needing to recover the ship parts. The big difference here, though, is we have 15 days, and we have a dog by the name of Moss who helps us out as well. Overall, though, this is a beautiful game, but sadly, it just misses out on the number one spot for me in 2023. And I mean, just barely. Let me put it to you this way, dear viewers. If this game had enemy respawns in the overworld like we see in the previous entries, this would have been my number one pick. Before we get to number one on our list, however, how about we take a look at some honorable mentions? These are games that I haven't finished yet, but I feel like are great in their own light, but just didn't hit my top 10 list personally. However, these are games I will still recommend to anyone, so keep that in mind because we got a lightning round ahead of us. A little bit of a backstory here. I used to be a part of a blogging group where one of the representatives played a preview of a game called 8-Bit Adventures 2. This prompted me to play myself, the demo that is, and I was in awe. A game that took the tropes of an 8-bit Final Fantasy kind of game that you would see back on the NES, but reimagined to combine it with the likes of modern takes of the RPG formula, and it's so beautifully done. Okay, so I have to say this right now. I haven't really played that much of this remastered of the acclaimed SNES Classic, but I did beat the original, so I'm just going to acknowledge the remaster while talking more about the original. The story is phenomenal. The combat is beautiful, and I absolutely love the combat in this game. And I'm just going to say one thing about the remaster. We have beautiful Chungus Yoshi in HD. I'm very happy to see the very happy big boy can be appreciated in all of its HD colorful glory. A game that came out at the start of the year on an honorable list. Did I just forget this game's existence? No, not at all. Far from it, actually. Just coming into the world of Fire Emblem with Fire Emblem Three Houses, I never truly understood why the series was such a sought after series to play. But now, I do understand. I think this game has the qualities that would be found in most RPGs. The only caveat for me is the tactical aspect of it. It is why I would recommend Mario and Rabbids. It is a game that I can appreciate and enjoy, but not a game I would throw my hat back into as frequent as this list of top 10s. Okay, I was not expecting to give Mario Bros. Wonder my number one game of the year. I knew from its announcement at the same Nintendo Direct that was with my friends back in June that this was going to be on my list of top 10 games. However, number one, I am quite surprised to say the least. To start, I completed this game upon getting it in my hands. It is all that I played 9 day for a week's time, and so my profile was 100% completed. The last time a Mario game made me do this was Super Mario 3D World on the Wii U. I did the same thing again on the Switch port because I just love that game so much. While it is a 3D landscape, to me, it falls within the same realm as the other 2D games. Mario Bros. Wonder is what true innovation to the Mario formula is. Utilizing a brand new, more eccentric art style that has not been seen since in the Mario series before. The character roster, 12 in total. I cannot say enough words for. We have Daisy of all characters. Daisy from the Sarasa Kingdom, making her debut here. It's very sad Rosalina didn't come back from 3D World, but I'll gladly take Daisy. Of course, we also have the new power-ups to boot as well. The Bubble Flower, Drill Mushroom, and the Elephant Fruit, because apparently it isn't wonderful enough to have Wonder Flowers and Singing Piranhas, I guess. Whatever. I'm not complaining because we have some beautiful music in this game due to the Wonder Flowers. A Boo singing opera, piranha plants in unison. It is indeed wonderful. Every stage feels unique in its own right. From the simpler stages of Flower Fields to the more complex challenge stages, each one never felt the same as the other. However, I think that is where I end things here. What games would you recommend that came out this year? Let me know down below. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.